real talk. When it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Getting with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Tell them, coach, statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either hit it for the win or they hitting the goal posts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any Kenny could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah, they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they running back on the real. That's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver, signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How we feeling today, Coach?
Good, man. Good. How you doing?
Actually, are you still coaching? I know we didn't really get the chance to get the intro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. I'm at a new school now, so we'll see how it goes.
And you doing basketball, JV, varsity?
Yeah, basketball varsity. I'm not the head coach. I'm just the lead assistant.
Okay. Trying to position for that top spot?
Not there. I'm there to help one of my friends.
Okay.
One of my coaching buddies. But if another opportunity presents itself, I definitely would like to get back in that head coach seat. I like the challenge.
Absolutely. Well, exciting night. Saturday night. It's been a busy day for me. I had to go up to the city, DC, and there was they closed 2 bridges because there was some kind of bike-a-thon or something. So
wow.
People riding bikes everywhere, which there's a lot of stuff going on in DC. We've had some good football today. I don't know how much you've watched. Pretty run-of-the-mill as far as the performance. I don't think there's been any crazy upsets.
Not crazy, but USF did knock off Florida in the Swamp.
Oh, I just seen that. Did that just finish recently?
Yeah, that just finished a few minutes ago.
Okay, I see Baylor did beat SMU. But it's some blowout. Tennessee put up 72, 17, Indiana 56-9, Texas Tech 62-14. Who else? Oregon, I watched that 69-3 of Oklahoma State. Penn State 34-0, Ohio State 70-0. Alabama is responding up 28-0 early in the second. And we got the big game, Michigan, Oklahoma. And I got LSU, and I'm flipping between that and Miami, but Miami's kind of cooking Bethune, which you kind of expect. But good deal. We got a good show for everybody. We're definitely going to be on the NFL. We got to follow up some of our picks from last week. As far as the division winners, we had 2 games that did take place. We'll get to that in just a minute because we have, I believe it's a bigger story. We were kind of talking in the back, and you seem less concerned. Was that before you heard Steve Ballmer talk, or you just from jump didn't think it was much ado?
From jump, and then after hearing Steve Ballmer talk, that kind of also kind of solidified it, I guess. Not solidified it, but gave me more reason to think the way that I'm thinking.
So just for clarity, for those of you who may not have heard, Kawhi Leonard seemingly has so how do you even, I guess, how would you phrase it then? If you think it's much ado to, how do you account for the bankruptcy filing, him being listed as the owner of the company? He never posted about this company. I guess, how do you, if it's, because I think there's something there. I think it's almost like NCAA in the past where everybody was getting paid, but if you got caught, they would punish you for it. insert Reggie Bush and others. I think this is just a thing that happens. But if you think it's nothing and he wasn't just getting paid for a no-show job, which the jokes write themselves given his history, like
Right.
how do you justify the information of the company, him being paid, and not posting about it?
Well, that's why I think there may be some misinformation going on here. I think he may have
Okay.
had some. I think he may have been similar to Obama in terms of having some equity in the company, um, and I think it might. I think it's being a little sensationalized, and I think the other and that I think that's the reason why that he didn't really post about it. And then the fact that it went under, that's even giving you more reason to not publicize it, because you don't want people to know that you took a L. Um, so I think I think it's more of an equity thing where he had some ownership into it, and then that became public knowledge. Uh, but like I said, when we're talking backstage, I think that if this was something that could have been done, it would have been done already, because you got a lot of, because you think about it with free agency, you know, uh, 9 times out of 10, it's the big market teams that are going to get the big fish. So in order for the smaller market teams, or the teams, like the Clippers, or a team like Brooklyn, or et cetera, or small market teams, in order for them to be able to even the playing field, so to speak, is this would be the avenue in which to do it. So my thinking is that if this would have been able to be done, it would have already been done. We would already have heard about it.
That's fair. I do view it different. And like, I don't know what y'all have in Florida, but we have a place up here called Eastern Motors. It's a car company, a car dealership. And you can bank on it every year. I think they're an official sponsor of Washington, of the Commanders. Every year they got, even this year, one of the sticking points, or one of the things that kind of went viral, was Terry McLaurin was recording a TV or a commercial for Eastern Motors.
Mm.
And in that, there was a kind of an impromptu press conference afterwards, and he kind of shared his displeasure with the negotiations and how they were going on. For me, I don't see how that's any different. If you have team sponsors, and I think you'd be foolish as an organization to bring in a free agent that you're trying to recruit and not say, hey, we have these sponsors and we can basically guarantee that you can be the face of these brands. Like, you got the brand, this particular company for the Clippers is on their logo. So I don't even really see the problem. I guess you can call it circumventing the cap, but I feel like every team has these team sponsored people.
Sure.
And guess what? The players are going to show up to special events. The players are going to have deals with these companies. So I don't really see how it's any different. So again, I'm with it. Like, get your money. Like, these are billionaires paying millionaires. I don't see, other than the idea that you're circumventing the cap, which people find creative ways to work within the cap in all sports anyway. So I would think the grand scheme, I think it's much ado about nothing other than it's quote unquote illegal. But I think every team has partnerships and sponsors they work with, and I would think they would be foolish. I think same thing when they said LeBron was planning to go to the Lakers. He wanted to go to LA for movies or entertainment. Whether that's true or not is the selling point. Being in a big market offers you more opportunities. We see Michael Porter Jr. all the time now. I never seen that guy. Now I see him doing every single podcast now that he's been traded to, I think, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
I see him. He got Brittany Renner on. He got all kinds of stuff going on. So I think that's just par for the course. I don't think it's the biggest of deals, but I definitely think everybody, whether it's like steroids in baseball, like I think I said it on here, whether it's college athletes that was getting paid under the table, I think people are going to circumvent the cap. Like, they want to be competitive, and Ballmer specifically got more money than I think most all owners combined.
Yeah, he's definitely the richest owner in NBA. Might be in pro sports.
So why? I think I saw a list. I think the Cronkies might be ahead because they got like 5
Oh yeah,
different
yeah,
teams.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, they
But
got hockey and soccer. Yeah, yeah,
and I think the Chargers too. So I think they
yeah. That's
cover a
yeah.
bunch of
I
sports.
think you're right.
So outside of that, like, duh, use your money. So again, maybe this will be a collective bargaining thing that they can readdress just to eliminate any gray area. But to me, it makes sense. Like, we got money, we want to get people. There's going to be opportunities, and I think we see that even in the investing in the portfolios, like in Golden State. Uh, Kevin Durant went up there and apparently had a ball getting invested in Silicon Valley. Like,
Yeah,
now you can say, no, there wasn't circumventing the cap, but if I can help introduce you to owners of companies and they're going to put you on the board or make you a spokesman or whatever they're going to do, I'm with it. This just seems a little weird to me because I see Kawhi in a bunch of New Balance commercials. I've seen Kawhi on a number of different circumstances when he's wanted to promote things. To be getting paid that much, even if I think you mentioned him being an investor, like 50 Cent was an investor in vitamin water. He did ads for vitamin water. Like, when you secretly invest in, or you're an angel investor, whatever, I think it's to your benefit to still promote the company.
No,
like,
you're right. No,
I think that goes hand in hand. And from what the research I've seen, and I haven't done a ton, he didn't promote this said company. So that, to me, given the amount of money he was making, does seem weird. But this is Kawhi Leonard. So it's hard to know what's real and what's not.
For sure.
But I think it's a legit thing. I just think it's a hush-hush thing.
Yeah, you could be right, because to your point, you have the national sponsors, then you have regional sponsors, and that's where these guys get these local deals, or they'll get deals with car companies. To your point, where they'll get in exchange for cars, or they'll get they get money and things like that. So it could be a combination of the two. You're not necessarily wrong. I just think that, again, that if this was something that could have been done, I think this would not have been the first time that we heard about it. So it's going to be investigated. So we're going to find out one way or the other, for sure.
And I know specifically with Kawhi, because once somebody gets a thread loose, they start pulling. And now it's, well, when he wanted to go to the Raptors, his uncle was asking for this and asking for that. So now there's a whole bunch of stories, which apparently the NBA did investigate those claims back then, and they said nothing happened. But I've also seen the Patriots tapes get destroyed and nothing happened. So depending on how bad of a spotlight it'll put out on said team, I don't know. But I will be curious to see how Adam Silver handles this. I think I haven't been the happiest with him as an NBA, what is it, the CEO of the NBA? I don't know what his title is. Commissioner. Yeah. I haven't loved it. I thought the finals was a dud in a lot of ways, from branding standpoint to the hype standpoint. I still don't really love this in-season tournament. It does much of nothing for me. The All-Star game, they're revamping it again. The dunk contest is still not it. So I think he got a lot of work cut out for him. I will be curious to see how he handles this. And if it is what I think it is, Steve Ballmer got to be even more pissed. Like, you got a new stadium, you invested all this money, and this guy don't play. He played a good amount last year until the playoffs and no show. So I think one of the probably poor in return on investments we've seen in recent history. But that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Hopefully they'll get it together, but I will be curious to see what the findings are and how much transparency. If it's like, I don't know how much you've been following. If it's like the Young Thug, where we getting audio every day of stuff, or it's gonna be like the Epstein files, where everybody's talking about something and it just isn't there. So we'll see what the NBA does, but we can go from there. Did you have anything else before we get into the Thursday night game?
Well, I do want to touch on the point about Commissioner Silver. While I think you make some valid points about some things that he's some misses, but I think he has hit in terms of one or two things. Two, getting rid of two bad owners in terms of um, the Clippers on Sterling and Sarver from the Suns. Those are two, whose characters were questionable. So the fact they was able to get rid of, well, not get rid of, but he got rid of Sterling and Sarver wound up selling his team. But to get rid of those two, bad seeds, quote unquote. And then I think he's really been player. I think he's been more player focused or player friendly.
You don't think that's to a fault at this point?
I'm not sure. I think it's been good for the most part because compared to Commissioner Stern, who cracked the whip, but he had the hard line in terms of his stance. I think he's been a breath of fresh air in terms of that. But there's, it's hits and misses though. I would definitely say that for sure. But I think I would rate him more positively than I would negatively.
And so I disagree. I do. I agreed initially. I will say, and this is kind of part and parcel of all sports at this point. Like even today, trying to watch college football, I can't watch any of the big games. I got ESPN Plus, I got Hulu, I got Netflix, I got all these platforms. You still can't watch some of the premier stuff without like cable. And I think the NBA is getting worse and worse. The fact that we're not going to see, they say Chuck and Kenny and them until I think Christmas Day is a mistake. Thank God they finally got rid of Dort. Yeah, I think we don't see them until I think their opening night and then Christmas Day is the next time we'll see them.
Oh, wow.
Doris Burke was atrocious. Thank God she's off the air. She got demoted.
Wow. That's cold.
Cold. Did you listen to her?
Yeah, she knew the game. She knows the game. She might not have been the most entertaining, but she knows the game.
This is the finals. I grew up on Van Gundy and Mark.
Oh, nobody's gonna. That was the
Marv Albert. Like
you're not gonna ever. Those are iconic crews. Marv Albert and Coach Fratello, then Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, and Mike Breen. Like those are iconic. Those are tough shoes to fill. And I'm not the biggest Richard Jefferson fan. I would rather have
I'm not either
than Richard Jefferson.
Nah, I'm not saying that. Even Reggie, like I can tolerate Reggie. NBC seems like they have a nice lineup, so I'll be curious to see what they have. But again,
and the MJ factor is going to be interesting to see how they incorporate him.
But I don't have cable, so I'm going to be curious to know how that works. I bought NFL Plus, and even that, you can only watch games on like the stream. So I probably will get League Pass.
But you have what do you call it?
They just killed Stream East, which I thought Stream East was pretty trash anyway. Good.
Dang, I'm trying to think. You have a Fire Stick?
No. So I have heard of the Fire Stick. I was dealing with somebody and they were supposed to hold me down, but they didn't, and now we're not as cool.
Yeah, get a Fire Stick and you can jailbreak it yourself. You don't need to buy it.
But I'm saying as a lifelong fan of sports, I shouldn't have to do that.
I understand. But we're in a streaming age, so like regular TV or linear TV, however it's called, like those days are over with.
But they keep raising the prices on everything. Like
that's why people cutting the cord.
And this is where I said the player empowerment thing, I think, is troublesome because they got to be. I'm happy these people are getting their money. Like they're getting a lot of it. But now they got to be able to pay these people. And so I don't think much of any of the decisions that the NBA or NFL has made is customers focused. Like in an economy where everything's struggling, where unemployment is what it is, where jobs are going away, you're forcing people to have 1,000 different streaming services. And I think eventually it's going to come to a crux where people like me, like I really love sports, but Sunday tickets like $500. I'm not paying that. Like it's like, you can get it for $80 a month. $80 a month. So yes,
I'll tell you in the group chat how to watch it for free.
Well, then we will do that. But again, then that becomes the whole thing of piracy before, where the players potentially will suffer. And I just think there's a better way. And I think has been spearheading a lot of these new ventures to get more money, and it is not customer focused. And that to me is a problem. On top of the product has been so-so. And they keep trying to me gimmicky stuff, and I just want good quality product. And I don't know that we're getting that at this point. Or when we have it, I think a lot of people aren't even able to see it. So we'll see kind of what comes of it, but
it's going to be even less so now. To your point, it's going to be even less so now because going to Amazon, what's going on for TNT, going to Amazon for games. ESPN's got games, and then NBC has got games. So we got even less. We only really have the 2 television options. We lost the TNT option, so it's even less. But I think part of it, the reason is that this is happening is because these television deals keep getting higher and higher, bigger and bigger. So, and his job is to maximize the profits for the owner. So, so he's kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Which
we're in a digital age.
Which brings us to Red Zone. Like now, it's gonna have commercials, and so I'll be very curious tomorrow what that looks like. But it's like everything can't be a money grab. We don't have it on the topic board, but kind of I'm gonna pivot a little bit. But your thoughts on this potential? And I thought it was fake when I saw it, but it's real. Mayweather and Tyson are doing an exhibition. It's like
zero interest. Zero.
Tank Davis didn't take the Lamont Roach rematch because he's gonna fight Jake Paul, and I think it's all like they both posted it as well. I think by the end of this year. I think it's in November.
Gosh.
And I feel like I hear more about that than I am Canelo and Crawford, which is next week.
Yeah.
Like there's no road to the fight. There's no ESPN lead up.
I think there was I haven't watched. I saw somewhere that there is a Netflix because it's airing on Netflix.
Documentary.
So there is a lead up or road to. I forgot the name of it, but I think there is one on Netflix because
they're doing a piss poor job of marketing.
No, yeah. Well, Netflix doesn't really market anyway, so.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's weird.
Again, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I think we're going the wrong way with all of it. And I'm with, like I said, players get your money. These contracts are absurd, and I'm with all of that. But it comes to a point where it's like, come on, man. Like, is enough ever enough? So we'll see. I think college football is the one thing I would say has changed a lot. This NIL thing, I think, to me, it's still very early, but I think it shed a big light on what was going on. Because you want to talk parity, I think there's 15 different teams right now that are going to be angling for
sure, and
the national title.
Especially now that you've got the expanded playoff. So,
and what Florida State just did all of a sudden after the NIL got popping says a lot to me because they was trash for the last 5+ years. Clemson's been struggling recently. Alabama took the loss, which they're showing up tonight. Miami seems to be back. So the boosters are boosting, and I am happy with. That I am happy with. But we can transition. Actually, no, I want to talk about one more thing because I know football is going to be a large topic. Your thoughts on 2 things. Angel Reese being suspended. Are you familiar with what happened?
Yeah, I did see that.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on, did you think her comments were too much? And then I'm going to follow that up just so you can kind of think about it is, what do you think of the WNBA season this year with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese missing so much time? And I'll kind of get to that in a second. But generally speaking, like, what do you think with the Chicago Sky suspending her for the first half of a game, even though they've been eliminated from playoff competition a while ago? And then 2, do you think she'll be back in Chicago?
1, I thought it was weak. Like, if you're going to suspend her for a game. Suspending her for a half that's silly to me, and really doesn't accomplish anything, in my opinion. So And I didn't have a problem with what she said. Like I didn't even think what she said was suspension worthy. Like she was just saying that like, and I get it. When you're a competitor, like she was just expressing her frustration, and her expectations for them moving forward. And as a competitor, that's what I want to hear from my, my leading player or my quote unquote face of the franchise is that she wants to win and she wants to compete and she wants to know what the direction is and what we're going to do in terms of bringing in more talent because they clearly need more talent. Um, so I didn't have a problem with what she said at all. And again, I thought the suspension was weak. That if you're going to suspend it, you suspend it for the whole game, not for a half. What was the second part of your question?
Do you think she'll be back or in Chicago, or do you think they'll
Oh
trade?
yeah, that's interesting. I think that's going to be the biggest question going into the off season for the WNBA. Besides, Caitlin Clark getting back to health, I think that's going to be the biggest question of the off season because it seems like the way things are going, that they could be headed down that road. Because once you start speaking out, then that kind of makes you a target. And if things don't improve in the way that she wants it to improve, I don't think she's going to stop talking. That's for sure. I think it's just going to, increase, or she's going to, be even more vocal. So I think it is definitely. I think it's a strong possibility that she may not be there this offseason. They may have to trade her because that may be what is needed for them to be able to get an influx of talent. To trade a piece like that that'll bring you multiple pieces back. So I definitely think it's a strong possibility. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's for sure or it's for certain, but I think it's a strong possibility that she gets traded in the offseason.
Fair enough. I guess I'll give my 2 cents. I agree with you. I think the timing's bad. I get her point, but you ain't necessarily contributing to winning. So to say like me bounds and double doubles, it didn't translate to much of anything on the W column, which I'll get to Paige in a minute. So I think it's wrong time and potentially wrong messenger. Obviously, she has a very big voice. She might have the biggest voice in the WNBA. Is Caitlin more popular? Does Caitlin maybe drive the market share more? Sure. But she don't talk.
She's more outspoken for sure. Yeah.
Angel Reese, we've seen her, we hear her way more off the court. I believe she's still doing her own podcast. I'm not entirely sure on that. So to have her say those things publicly, my biggest question is, did you say them privately? And did you get ignored privately? So if you're asking for help and they're not helping you, okay, I can kind of understand you going to the media. But if you haven't made those requests in private, or they've said, hey, we're going to try in the offseason or whatever they may have told her, and you still went that way, I think that's tough. I also think as far as trading her, I always look at team dynamics. I've said this about Caleb Williams a long time ago when it's him and Jaden Daniels. When I don't see a lot of teammates coming to defend you, it makes me wonder. And I haven't heard a lot of Chicago Sky players coming out in support of this. Now, I don't follow the WNBA super close, but I haven't heard anybody saying we agree with her, or the WNBA is huge on unity and marketing and we stand together and all that stuff that they've done. I'm not seeing that. So I don't know how much the players in the locker room also enjoyed hearing her say that. Given that in a lot of ways, I do think she's rightfully so, given how little they pay her in her salary, has tried to market herself as an individual versus as a team. So I think it has a couple things that could be a bit problematic. Although I think, and I appreciate people speaking their mind. I don't know if the person or the timing was ideal. And so I think she got to go. With that being said, I don't know if you've looked at the WNBA standings, but if I'm Dallas, you can have anybody but Paige.
Yeah.
Like that, from a marketing standpoint, her and Caitlin don't get along, so I don't think if Indiana's kind of decent, so I wouldn't do that.
Mhm.
But if I'm Dallas,
And
who's
you
the
already
worst team in
got
the league, they got Aaliyah
what's old girl?
Boston.
Yeah, Leah Boston. So that they would clash.
I mean,
I
and
think their
maybe this
games
is
are
why
similar. So
this is why Chicago wasn't good, because they had her and the other,
Cardozo.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it didn't translate.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be what if I'm Dallas, I'm on the phone ASAP. Like,
I agree.
what you want? At minimum, we're gonna sell a bunch of tickets. Maybe with Paige don't miss a lot, but when she do miss, we got somebody. So that I think that would be important. I will also say the timing also is a little tricky because they're headed for a lockout potentially. And we kind of talked about the player empowerment earlier on the last topic. I do think they should make more. The reports are they had like a offer for 4 times as much and they balked at it. I think you got to take baby steps or you could fall flat on your face. And I don't know if you're already struggling to make money. Should a lockout be most ideal with seemingly reasonable offers on the table? But we'll kind of see how that plays out. But
yeah, and it's negotiation. So you always start. You always start high, and then you come to a common ground. So they may just be shooting for the moon and seeing how far they can get. You know what I'm saying?
I will also say I didn't realize the WNBA season ends because I'm about to go to Vegas, so I was going to try and catch an Aces game just since I'm out there. Their season and playoffs start in like a week.
Yeah,
and I don't hear anybody talking about the WNBA anymore.
Yeah,
outside of
NFL
this,
now, so.
which I get. But if we're going into a negotiation, and I just saw, I would be curious. I haven't seen ratings talk all year. I haven't seen record-breaking ratings. I haven't seen any of that talk that we heard last year. So if I'm an executive and I'm seeing, to me, what seems like not the greatest growth with Caitlin being hurt, I don't know if shooting at ownership is best right now, but we'll see. It's kind of what comes of it. And I do wish the ladies the best and get your money however you can. But speaking of money, CeeDee Lamb's making a lot of it. CeeDee Lamb is making a lot of it. And I don't know how much he gets paid to drop the ball, but boy, there was some very impactful drops this past Thursday. For those of you who don't know, if you live under a rock, the NFL football season kicked off on Thursday. It was Eagles, Cowboys. There was a delay in the game, which really killed all the momentum to me. When you got to do player safety, but from the fumble to the lightning to the rest of the game, it was not really great at all. The first half and leading up to that point, I thought was really entertaining. Unless you're AJ Brown, I don't think he had much fun.
Did you see that video? Is that true?
Which one?
Like, I saw it on one of my friend's stories on Instagram. Like, there's a video, like he's at a press conference and he's saying that he wants to be traded, and we got a running back for a quarterback.
Oh no, I didn't see that. I feel like if that was true, we would have heard ESPN talking about it more.
Yeah, that's why I looked to see if it was on ESPN. So that's why I didn't really, take much.
And I was in group chats leading up until this season, and everybody was Jalen Hurts top 5. Jalen Hurts better than Jaden Daniels. Jalen Hurts da 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 da. I didn't see it, and I definitely didn't see it Thursday. Like, he had a great rushing game, scramble for touchdowns, but as a passer, Dak looked like a much better passer in that game. So they figured out a way to win it, but as a Commanders fan, neither team impressed me much. Philly looks like their secondary could be in trouble. Jalen Carter, we can get to that in a minute, but maybe they look like a totally different team with him, which I can't take away his greatness.
For sure.
But I felt okay. Not gonna lie. As a Commanders fan, I saw 2 good teams. I think Dallas is a good team, but I think we're going to be okay. I'll say that. Your thoughts on the game, your takeaways, your feedback.
But I wasn't really surprised. Like I said in the group chat, I wasn't expecting to win the game. But I was encouraged, I guess, with the offensive production. Offensive line looks like it's going to be a strength of the team. The running game looked better. I was pleasantly surprised with that. Except for the Miles Sanders fumble, of course. Um, but I thought offensively, I thought that, and this was to be expected. I think that offensively that we're going to be a really really strong unit in terms of being able to move the ball and being able to put points on the board. I just think defensively is where that's going to be the issue all season because there was zero pass rush. Um, the run defense was better. Um, was better. They held down Saquon Barkley, kept him in check pretty much for the most part. But there was zero pass rush, and which makes even more so kind of glaring that Jalen Hurts didn't have more productivity in the passing game because he really didn't have. He was not being pressured at all. I think he got sacked maybe one time, and that was more of a coverage sack
Mhm.
on that one. So, um, but yeah, I just think that we're a middle of the pack team. I think that it's going to be a long season. I think we'll put up some great numbers offensively, but defensively, I don't really see um, that we're going to be able to really limit teams or stop teams, especially without any pass rush coming from the edge. So, um, some good things, some bad things, and I think this is just going to be that's just going to be pretty much a preview of what we're going to see all year when it comes from the Cowboys. Some good, some bad, and it's just going to be a average to below average team.
I was more surprised. I think Jaden Blue was inactive, so I didn't see that coming. I know he's a big name in fantasy. Javonte Williams was okay.
Mhm.
Again, with no Jalen Carter, it's hard to really
Right.
assess the run game per se. I will say, and clip culture doesn't do him any favors. How long you guys gonna have George Pickens? Did you see his
Yeah.
blocking ability on a lot of them plays?
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone,
It's going to be a
look,
challenge though because you got a lot of weapons, and Dak is going to have to you know, find a way to keep him engaged and keep that ball, spread that ball around because CD's got to get touches. Pickens got to get touches. Jake Ferguson's gonna have to get touches. Kavonte Turpin has got to get touches because he's a weapon as well.
he
So
did.
you
He did
got
good.
you got some weapons and you got some talent, outside and that you're gonna have to feed. So that's gonna be on Dak to make sure everybody's happy.
Agreed. And I want to root for George, but man, like you got to at least try to block
Yeah,
down
and
the
that
field.
devil on the shoulder one was pretty funny too.
Yeah, yeah. So no, I think overall, I think both teams, like I said, will be okay. I think our division is going to be tough. I think I said last time, I think y'all will be last. I think I still stand on that until I see
Yeah,
how the
I can't
Giants.
disagree. Well,
How,
next week it'll be to tell a story because we play the Giants next week, so that'll also tell us in terms of the run game, how legit it is because you're going against a formidable defensive line, so that's going to be a real good test to see where
for
we are.
sure. And I'm glad as long as we get out there healthy that we get to start the year with a great defensive line test. We're gonna have to hit the ground running because they can get after you with three
Oh,
or
for
four
sure,
different guys.
for sure.
Uh, so it's gonna be definitely a good, I think, a good matchup. Um, I will say, if I'm an Eagles fan at home, banner night, I think I'm still somewhat encouraged, but they got to figure out the Jalen Hurts thing. I don't think they're not going back to back with him passing like that.
Yeah.
AJ Brown killed us last year. Like he just absolutely torched us. So I will be curious to see how they adjust the game plan. It did not seem like when they came out of halftime they made an adjustment. I think he only ended up with one catch, which was late in the fourth.
Hmm.
So for whatever reason, he wasn't a big focus. Um, and I don't know how
But
long
to
that
be fair
lasts.
though, wasn't really uh what's the name? Goddard was he's really the only one that got
Yeah,
multiple
Devontae
looks.
Smith
He
didn't
did
do
nothing
much either.
because I had him in fantasy, so I was a little, I was disgusted. So he didn't get a bunch of touches either. So the passing game wasn't really, it wasn't really effective at all, except for tight end. He was really the only one that really got multiple looks.
So yeah, we'll see kind
Yeah,
of as they improve. Still very early, and again, I
right,
told you I
right,
hate that no one plays in preseason. I'm
right.
sure that plays a bit of a factor, but we'll see. And like you said, 2 to 3 weeks, if some of these trends continue, then I think we're gonna have to reassess some things. But we did have a second game in Brazil, which was interesting on YouTube. Speaking of the ability to watch, hopefully the YouTube games will stay free and not go to YouTube TV because that's expensive.
Yeah,
Though we
man. That YouTube TV, man. It used to be. It had it was a good package. Now it jump going up just like everything else.
think it's like $80 a month,
It
which
is. It is. I can tell you that for a fact. That without the taxes and fees,
oh
it's about
man,
90 something by the time you get to that.
yeah, that's more than my cell phone. We're not doing that. Or I'm not doing that over here. So like I said, we'll talk about the Fire Stick thing. But yeah, it was a good game.
Mhm.
LA looked good. I can't lie. I'm a Omarion Hampton owner in fantasy. I was happy with the amount of touches he got. Would have liked some touchdowns. They seemed to go to everybody but him. One
Yeah.
time, I think him and McConkey, neither one got a touchdown. Keenan Allen got one. Quentin Wilson stole one from Hampton. So fantasy-wise, not the greatest night. I had Xavier Worthy, grand
Mm.
opening, grand closing.
Yes. That was tough.
And I haven't heard a report on what
Uh,
the injury is.
it's
I
a
know it was a
shoulder.
shoulder,
Yeah.
but I
But
haven't heard anything.
yeah, I saw that they're waiting. They was waiting to get back to Kansas City to do the MRI. So I'm sure we'll know something sometime tomorrow.
So I guess I'll just come out and ask it. AFC West matchup. It was in Kansas City, right?
No, that was
That wasn't it
Chargers
LA?
was considered the home team. They were considered
Okay. Oh yeah, duh, it's in Brazil. So I won't panic as much, but I will ask 0-1 in the division, 0-1 to start the year. If Worthy's out, you couldn't run the ball at all. Pacheco's atrocious. And Patrick Mahomes is the best running back on the team. Kelsey only had 2 catches. He had a big touchdown late. Rashee Rice out for 6 weeks. Hollywood Brown, I think, had 16 targets.
Yeah, 10 catches.
I don't think that's a good formula. I think that's a good. I think we talked about it last week. It's a good division. The AFC got some other talent in other places. You had Baltimore. If Cincy figures out, they just gonna outscore you. Buffalo. If you believe in what New England's doing, if you believe in Jacksonville or anybody down there, if you believe in Houston, there's a lot of opportunity. Should Chiefs fans be concerned?
Yeah, I think so. Because to your point, you're already down. You're already down 1 star wide receiver, and then potentially could be down 2, depending on what we hear about Worthy. It's just so many targets because we talked about Juju Smith-Schuster ain't what he used to be, and Hollywood is a smaller receiver, so I don't know how much you can really expect in terms of from him for productivity, and Travis Kelsey. We can see. I think it's we see that he's lost a step. He's not the same. He's not the same Travis Kelsey. So if I'm a Kansas City fan, I'm definitely concerned because the other part is that you said about the running game is pretty much non-existent. You got a Kareem Hunt. I think they brought back. I think they signed back Clyde Edwards-Helaire too. I think they're gonna try to throw him in the mix to see if they can get some productivity from him. But they're gonna have to find something because you can't rely on Mahomes to be your best runner because that's putting him in harm's way. You definitely can't have that. So I would definitely be concerned because offensively, they just don't look like the same. They just don't look like the same team. And I said it last week when we were talking about it. I think this is the year that it ends for them. And this week, this past game, just further makes me believe that, because I just don't see that offensively that they're going to be able to be as powerful and as productive as they have been in past years.
And I just quickly pulled up the schedule. They host Philly next week.
Yep.
Then they go at the Giants, and we're just talking about pass rush or defense. Then they host the Ravens. Then they go to Jacksonville. Then they host Detroit. Then they host the Raiders. Then they host the Commanders. Then they go to the Bills. Then they go to the Broncos.
That's tough.
That's
tough.
A lot. That's a tough stretch.
Yes.
Especially like
6 games, right? 6 games without
Rice.
Without Rice, and who knows how many games potentially without Worthy.
So Rice would come back at the Raiders, but again, that's getting him caught up to speed. That's getting him back in conditioning, and then Commanders come to town. And there's one thing I have very little concern about is we can score points. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to score with us. I think we can run the ball, we can pass the ball. I don't see the regression coming for Jaden. I know people have talked about that. Maybe he's not skyrocketed, but I think the guy's talented, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So I think, hey, you said it. I didn't want to believe it, but it could get spooky really, really quickly if you ask me for Kansas City. I think last night's loss might loom a lot bigger. And then down the stretch, it's not as bad, but it's not good. They finish up with hosting the Texans, hosting the Chargers. Titans should be a cakewalk, but then they host the Broncos and finish up at Raiders. So I'm not going to say they might only win 5 games, but I might say
got a tough schedule. That's for sure.
If they only end up winning like 5 games, I don't know if I can be too surprised, which would be ridiculous given and at some point wear and tear. Like they've been in championship games, Super Bowls for a long time. So they've had a great run. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. But I was impressed with Justin Herbert. Again, my issues never really with him in the regular season. Or until like the last 2 weeks of the season. It's when I need him most. And he missed some throws last night. McConkey should have had a touchdown. He missed them, I think, twice. And so that disappointed me. I think they have a solid run game. They didn't run as much as I would expect. But they maybe didn't need to. So we'll see. But that division should be good. If that's the Chargers team we're going to see on the road or on the road in a foreign country. And I think, did you see one of the linemen, I think, got sick or something from eating the rice and beans?
No, I didn't see that. Wow.
Dang, I can't. He's like, don't eat the rice and beans in Brazil. So they figured it out. And the Chiefs in 1-score games had a really good record. And Justin Herbert for what it's worth, he made the play with his legs to steal the game. So got to give credit where credit's due. And I think that's a really, really big win mentally, if at anything.
Does this make you more of a believer in the Chargers, or you still wait and see?
It's a weird dichotomy for me because I'm a big believer in Harbaugh. I'm not a big believer in Herbert. So I feel like they kind of balance each other out. Like, I think if Herbert can elevate his game, I think they should be really good. McConkey's legit. Keenan Allen looked great. Now, he's had health issues, so we'll see if he can stay healthy all year. They got 2 running backs that, they're tough running backs, but they're quality. So the defense held up relatively well. Granted, there wasn't a lot of threats on the Kansas City offense after the second play of the game. So I do think we'll see a different Kansas City team by the time they meet again. But I think they're going to get tested, and I didn't look at their schedule, but I think they're legit. They're a playoff contender. I don't want to say Super Bowl contender, but I definitely think last night showed me they can contend for a playoff spot and potentially win that division.
Yeah, I think I'm waiting to see with it because, like you, I agree in terms of Justin Herbert. I need to see him prove it in a big spot before I'm a believer in him.
And I did just pull up their schedule, a lot more favorable. At Raiders next, they do host the Broncos, then at Giants, host the Commanders, at Dolphins, host Colts, host Vikings, at Titans, host Steelers, at Jaguars, host Raiders, and that gets you to December. So I think they should win the majority of those games, or they'll be favored.
Definitely not as tough as Kansas City's.
Or definitely be favored in a lot of those games. So I think if they handle business, I think they can make some noise for sure. I do. With that being said, we do have our first full NFL Sunday. So first question I want to ask you is, do you have a game you're most looking forward to?
Oh yeah, definitely that Baltimore Buffalo game. That's the game I'm looking forward to. I think that's the best matchup of the week. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching that one.
Okay, who you got?
Ooh. Well, you know, I Ravens are my Super Bowl pick, so I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Okay, Ravens on the road at Baltimore. You got. I do. I think that's probably the biggest matchup. But I think we got a lot of good matchups. Even the bad games, I think, are going to be relatively entertaining. Obviously, Commanders Giants early. I'll be very curious. The Steelers at Jets.
Yeah.
Y'all know
Yeah.
I'm never I've never been really an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah, I
But
want to
Justin Fields looked terrible in preseason. So I'll be curious to know kind of what goes from there. Patriots or Raiders at Patriots. Obviously, the history between those two. I think both teams will be improved. Bucks Falcons. I want to see Penix. I want to see if the second half of last year how he translates. So it's quite a few. Lions Packers. It sounds like Micah. I think they ruled him out. I heard.
Oh no, I thought he was going to be limited. I thought they were going to limit his snaps.
Limited?
I think that's what I saw. He was going to have a limited snaps. But even that Chicago, Minnesota
Vikings,
that's another one I'm looking forward to seeing too, because I want to see how Caleb looks.
He is still listed as questionable.
I think I saw on ESPN. They said they was going to use him in a limited package.
Well, if they can keep that going into week 2, I would appreciate that because he has, and that's the other part. Like, I would be very curious to see we got a rebuilt front line in Washington. I trust Jaden, but this is going to be trial by fire for Josh Connolly. And he's the tackle we drafted in the first round. On the depth chart, he is set to be the starter. Tunsil, I'm not so concerned about. Like, he's looked great. I think he's fine.
Right.
But between Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, they're going to move them guys around. Dexter Lawrence is still in the middle.
Yeah.
Connolly's going to get some work.
Going to get tested. That's for sure.
Now, unfortunately, he's been going up probably against Von Miller some, so I'm sure he's been getting some tips.
Yeah.
But this is different. To the receiving or our D-backs, Malik Neighbors is Malik Neighbors. He absolutely went crazy on us last year. So Lattimore, welcome back. Hopefully you're healthy. But I'm definitely going to be watching that game, obviously, very closely, not only as a Commanders fan, but just I want to see how we perform, how we're going to use Debo, which running back are we going to get the most touches. So I'm staying away from any of our running backs in fantasy. But yeah, it should be a good week. Should be a good week of football there. I'll be watching Red Zone with commercials, which I think's pretty trash. But we
gotta wait and see how many commercials it's actually going to be, because in the past there hasn't been much time for them to be able to to get, even when, there wasn't, it's always seemed like, especially in that 1 o'clock. I think it's going to be more so in that 4
The
o'clock
second window.
Yeah, because in that 1 o'clock, you got way more games going on. So I think it's going to be hard for them to get a lot of commercials in there. So I think we'll see it more so in the 4 o'clock slate of games.
I will be much more receptive if you are right. If they start showing commercials in the 1 o'clock block,
yeah, I'll be surprised. I think it'll be limited there.
Me and Scott Hansen might got to see each other. But yeah, I'm excited. It's football Sunday.
For sure.
Lot of games that I think are compelling. Actually, I will ask this before we get ready to get up out of here, unless you have something else. With Titans at Broncos. Broncos are said to be a really good defense. Mm-hmm. PS2, Pat Surtain is arguably the best corner in the league. Mm-hmm. What do you expect of Cam Ward?
I think he's going to be up and down. I think that's what we'll see. And I think we'll see that tomorrow, that he'll have some good moments and then he'll have some rookie moments. Because that's a tough way to make your debut, because that defense is definitely, a quality defense. So I think we'll see some up and down. We'll see some inconsistency in terms of in terms of his production. So that's what I think we'll see tomorrow from him. But that definitely be a game that I'll be keeping my eye on, as well as of course, being here in Jacksonville, I'll definitely be keeping my eye on the Jags game as well, because supposedly Travis is going to be playing offense. He's going to be full-time offense tomorrow, so that's going to.
Oh, so he's not going both ways?
No, I think. Let me just make sure I read it right. But I think the report was that he's going to, be primarily offense and I think limited defense. Let me just make sure. Yeah, every down wide receiver. They said they're going to play him as every down wide receiver in week 1. So I don't even think he's going to get any. If this is what the report, if these reports are correct, if he's playing every down as a wide receiver, I don't see him getting any snaps defensively. But we'll see how that plays out. But I'll definitely have my eye on that one as well.
Which I think that's an interesting strategy, given they're playing Carolina. Obviously, they got the new T. McMillan. I don't know how you say his first name.
Yeah.
But Xavier Legette, not the greatest. Thielen's back. They traded Thielen.
No, they traded him back to Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah. So I think there was another receiver. I can't remember his name. It wasn't Legette as the two, but my point is I can't remember him. So I feel like this might have been maybe the game to play him at corner more.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree.
Bryce Young, I'm a fan of. I think he got a raw deal, and I think he'll be okay. But if not this game, in game 1, I will be curious to know what the plan is for him, because he was very adamant he wants to play both ways. So if that's not going to be a thing, that'll be interesting. That'll definitely be interesting. But a lot of weapons on the offense. I guess that's another thing. I think that you have way more offensive weapons than defensive weapons. So we'll see. But I will definitely try and, watch that and see kind of how that goes. But yeah, should be a good week, good slate. Shout out to Joe Flacco getting a start. Cleveland.
How long does that last?
I don't know. Let me just quickly look at their schedule. I mean, they're not going anywhere, but they go host Bengals, at Ravens, host Packers, at Lions, Vikings in London.
That's 4. That could be 4 losses. Go ahead.
At Steelers, host Dolphins, at Patriots,
6.
at Jets.
That's probably the 2 that you
host Ravens, at Raiders. It ain't a lot. Not a lot of games. So
no. It could be by December.
I would say if they're 0-5 coming back from London, and they don't even get an extra time frame. It's just a week from London. Man, that's tough. They play at Lions and then go to London and come right back to at Steelers. They didn't do them any favors. Maybe you don't start Dylan Gabriel because I think Pittsburgh's defense will be good. But if they're 0-5, 0-6 coming back, I could see, and assuming Gabriel stays healthy, and he seems to be the favorite, that Dolphins game.
You said he had New England after the Steelers?
No. So they at Dolphins and then host Dolphins, then at Patriots, then at Jets, and then host the Ravens. So
maybe
they did sign.
They
did sign Juggins, so I think their running back core is even worse. I drafted Dylan Sampson in a couple leagues, and I don't know who's playing between Ford, Juggins, and Sampson.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm rooting for failure. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what people say. I don't like how they've done or doing Shador.
I agree.
I wish they would let him go. But if it's collusion, then he can't go anywhere. So I don't know. Maybe by the trade deadline, we'll have more suitors as people fall by the wayside, but that it's just a mess. It's a mess. And Johnny Manziel came out and had to say what he said about he hates Cleveland and how miserable it is. Like, I've yet to hear really anybody talk highly about Cleveland.
Well, I mean, like, let's keep it real. Like, it's not like it's not New York, it's not Dallas, it's not Vegas, it's not it's not one of those quote unquote sexy cities where it's a lot to do. Especially you're there in the winter and it's freezing cold, so it ain't exactly a destination place, that's for sure. But like Johnny Manziel, like, pipe down, bro. Nobody cares what you think about Cleveland.
Baker looks like a different guy away from Cleveland.
He does. And hopefully, I think that's what, to go back to Jacksonville, I think that's what they want to see happen for Trevor Lawrence, that, bringing in Tampa's OC will, jumpstart Trevor Lawrence, because the book is, the jury's out on him. And this is going to be a pivotal year for him to be able to, establish himself as a higher tier quarterback, because right now he's definitely on that lower tier.
Agreed, and he's not getting paid like it. So gotta earn that money. But yeah, before we get out of here, did you have anything else you wanted to share or discuss?
No, man, it's gonna be fun to actually kick off the full slate of games, and full slate of fantasy, to be able to see how the teams do the how many leagues are you in?
6.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm in a dog fight in every single one of them.
Wow.
I played against Williams, who shockingly put up like 20 points. Won another league, I had Worthy, didn't do a lot. Mahomes held me down. One league, I ended up with CD and Pickens. For what it's worth, CD had a good fantasy week. Like, it should have been way better.
Yeah,
without the drops. But it's a tricky in the pay leagues. It's up in the air. So I'm still projected to win, I think, almost all my leagues, but it's hair thin, and it wasn't like that. My money league, actually no, I'm now projected to lose by 4. I had Kelsey, thank God he caught that touchdown.
Yeah.
McConkey had 6 for 74, and then I had Hampton, who had 48, couple catches, but
is it PPR?
Yeah, all PPR. And then I had Dallas's kicker, who he held it down, 11. So we'll see. A lot of unknown I'm trying to figure out early on, especially with these rookie running backs. I got in that league, I got Henderson and Hampton. So I don't really know. That's the other part. I obviously, as a fantasy owner, I'm very curious to see. A lot of these backfields have a lot of options. Jacksonville, there's 3 guys there. So hopefully a lot of this stuff will sort itself out in the next week or 2. But I'm excited. How many you got?
I just got 2.
Okay.
I got 2.
No, that's not enough for me. I like drafting and I like talking trash.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just keeping up with all them teams. Because that 6, I couldn't imagine doing 6. I don't know how you can keep up with all those moves. But hey, more power to you.
I've fortunately drafted in a similar spot in most leagues randomly, so a lot of my teams have a lot of overlap. But
okay,
yeah,
well, that makes it a little easier.
It's not for the faint of heart, but everybody can't be great, So. Fair enough. But all right, man. I definitely appreciate you jumping on with me, Chris. We miss you. Hopefully everything is well. Maybe he celebrated the Eagles' victory too hard, but enjoy the evening, and we will be back next week to recap week 1 as well as any other breaking news that takes place. Kenny, enjoy your evening, sir, and we out.
Tempo, time, let's go.
We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Getting with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Telling coach statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either hit it for the win or they hitting the goal posts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any Kenny could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they running back on the real. That's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.